And we are live, and welcome back, everyone, to the Sanctum Sanctorum. I am always your host, Widow's Son, and with me is our illustrious co-host, TF. And today is another very special edition of the Sanctum Sanctorum. First of all, before we get started and we introduce our guest, I would like to once again give a shout out to Wanderer for the incredible avatar and profile picture that he created for me. I thank you so much. It looks absolutely amazing, and it's nice to have something to kind of stand out for, for the channel and everything. He's working on the banner currently for the channel and the show, and once again been sending me little snippets here and there, so I'm excited to see the finished product. But once again, Wanderer, thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job, my dude, and we will definitely have you on the show as soon as possible. And today we have Cryveil on the show. TWC is here. What's going on, my friend? And Cryveil is an amazing YouTuber and content creator. I've been watching his streams, even though I get in there sometimes pretty late, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. But before we get to him, TF, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. As you know, I sliced the tip of my finger off yesterday. Sent you the pictures, and it's healing. It's on the mend. Not enough to have to go get it reattached, but
that was the that you were making the connection between it and having a second circumcision for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Well, because I nipped the tip on both finger like appendages.
And Wanderer is here. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you here as always. And we'll have a few more start making their way in here as the show progresses. But right now, we are going to go ahead and move over to our guest, Cryveil. He is, once again, a very good YouTube content creator, game streamer. Sat and watched him play some Resident Evil over the last couple of weeks. Saw him playing, I think it was Hell Tracker or something.
Helltaker.
Helltaker, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just straight on out the back of the head and right out the mouth. But welcome to the Sanctum Sanctorum, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yeah, man. No problem. Honestly, when you were introducing me, I thought you were going to call me a gamer and you were going to leave it at that.
Well, no, you're a gamer and a content creator and a YouTuber. I mean, you could be, you could also like moonlight as a male stripper for all we know. So,
I mean, yeah, no one knows about that yet. So,
well, they do now. They do.
Got to keep it on the down low.
Well, it's too late. I mean, so
shit.
So if you want to hire him, I guess you just hit him up through his Discord. So if anyone who's going to be listening to the show today wants to check out his content, there is a link in the description below. Also a link to his Discord, his Twitter, and his Instagram, and you can get all of that information to keep up with him. Subscribe to his channel. Hit the subscribe button on his channel, notification bell. Excellent content, and we're going to be getting into that here in just a little while. So tell me, what got you? I mean, obviously you love video games like a lot of us do. I like to, play here and there. I don't do the whole online thing or stream playing games and stuff. But first of all, what got you initially into gaming? Like, what system did you start out with, and how did it just kind of progress from there?
Well, it's kind of hard to remember. Because I was exposed to video games pretty early on in my life, but I do remember I saw my dad play a lot of Oblivion, like right when it first came out, so that kind of got me interested in, the whole RPG thing. I also saw him play Final Fantasy 12 a ton, so I'd say, I don't know, probably started off on the PlayStation 2. I don't exactly remember all the games I played. I also played a lot on, the Game Boy.
Well, of course, me and TF are probably a little bit older than you are.
Yeah.
I started out on like the original Nintendo when I was like 8 years old, and my dad got me one, and that just kind of went from there. I still have my original Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and as far as I know, they both still work.
That's nice.
Yeah, I know, but the only thing is I have to remember where they're located at my mother's house so I can hook them up and make sure that they still work.
You can just download an emulator and download a bunch of ROMs.
Why would I want to do that when I actually have a system?
Because you don't have to blow in the cartridge if it.
But that was half the fun of it. See, Cryveil doesn't know the joy of having to blow inside the cartridge to get it to work.
Well, I have played on an NES.
Okay, well, I apologize. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I have been into console collecting a lot, so I have those systems right next to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they do have, what was it, Nintendo about 6 months ago or so released a new version of the NES and then the NES, or SNES, where they had all the video games loaded on it.
Well, it wasn't all of them, but yeah.
But it was missing a few essentials.
Yeah, you could, but couldn't you download them though from a marketplace or something?
No, that's only on like their new systems with virtual console stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great that they've done that. So it's really interesting. This is probably taking the conversation a different direction, but it was because of that piracy, which technically that is piracy, but you could also argue that the companies not maintaining the games or not reselling them was actually copyright abandonment. And that's kind of how like a lot of companies looked at it. But what happened is in the early 2000s when people were creating emulators and then they were putting the ROMs online, that actually wound up preventing the games from deteriorating due to bit corruption. And so piracy inadvertently wound up preserving and saving a lot of the early video games that now people are going back and wanting that retro look. They want that 8-bit look on a lot of the games that you can download on your phone.
I know that I was playing that the Stranger Things mobile phone game or something a while back, and it totally has like that just solid 8-bit look. Like it's just, of course that show being based in the 80s, I don't think they really could have done it any other way, but a lot of, that the game and the show and everything is nothing but just like a pool of 80s references almost. So
yeah.
So you were playing Resident Evil like the last few times I've been watching you and everything, and you've been even if I would jump in just a little bit late, you always seem to get to a point where
you're stuck.
You're stuck, and you start getting pissed off about it. Like the last one I remember was you were going back and playing, I think, Chris's mission on the original one, I think that was it. And you got to some point and you just started just like, why do I need to go all the way back here just to do this? This is, I'm just like, he's going to eventually just like pick his screen up and throw it. He's going to have a Markiplier moment and throw his desk chair, or, there's going to be a loud crash at some point.
Well, if I had a webcam, I probably would do more visual angered things like that. But I do get like verbally angry a lot.
Oh, that's very true.
I get frustrated at a game, but I try not to physically take it out on my stuff. Sometimes that doesn't work, but yeah, there's a lot of times when I'm streaming or, I'm live and my brain just stops working. So I failed to see like really simple things. So there's a ton of times on stream where I'm just stuck on a really simple puzzle or like a vague thing that isn't clear to me. So I just and I kind of play it up a little bit, but whenever you like hear me angry, I'm genuinely angry because it's bullshit on the game.
Dr. Yoshi's here. Dr. Yoshi, welcome. Gamey Fur is here also, and I saw K-Dog slip in just a moment ago. Welcome, all you guys. So you were playing Helltaker the other night, and I was watching that while I was at work, and of course I had to drop out early because I planned to just hang out the whole time. But then of course there's just some drama and crap over here on my end I had to take care of. But you were playing that, and just I remember hearing you getting so irritated. One of the biggest irritations was talking about running out of moves, and it's just like, I've gone here. No, I've done that. Yeah. Okay, I'll go back and I'll do it again, and you'll see it won't work. Like, who in the hell's playing this game? I am. You just like sit there and so. Well,
I didn't say it like that, but
well, I know that, but I mean, it was implied. I mean, also, if it had been me or somebody else that I know they would have been playing, they would have just been like, "Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about. I've already done that." Okay. It's like, if you want me to do it again, I'll do it again. But whatever, it's not going to work. I know one of your Patreon backers sent you that game, but
what? I don't have a Patreon. The game's just free.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you kept saying I'm only playing this game because somebody gave me money.
Yeah. So. Basically, my friend, one of my real life friends, he donated on stream and he wanted me to play Helltaker, so I told him I'd play it next stream. So, in the most literal sense, I had to play the game because someone gave me money.
That just sounds like you're just you'll do anything for money, will you?
I mean,
within reason.
Yeah.
Just like, just give me a super chat and I'll do anything.
Well, anything's a bit, anything legal.
anything legal, Now, if you pay me in a different currency, then we have to negotiate. So,
But going back to like the Helltaker stream, like I've been getting some regulars, so people like to fuck with me. Like, they've been on stream before, but they like to fuck with me. So usually when I yell at them or I get angry at them, I don't mean it, and they know that. So one of the people, Yukon, he like always fucking patronizes me. Because I can't figure out a puzzle. Yeah, hold on, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I saw that. I was waiting to like segue into that, but he always fucking patronizes me, so I yell back at him. And during the Helltaker stream, there was like really simple puzzles and I just couldn't figure them out, so the whole time I was getting more and more angry, and Yukon was like, "It's right there, you're not doing the thing." But
you're not doing the stuff with the thing,
streamer man, you're not doing it right. But it's like, fuck you, I am. I'm just slow. But anyway, the ramen, yes. So I don't know, Widow, if you saw it, but I made a video about cooking ramen for my 1,000 sub special. So that was my first time cooking, and the ramen actually turned out pretty well. Like, I didn't make the broth correctly at all. I didn't add anything to give it like a meaty flavor. It was mostly vegetable broth, but it surprisingly all tasted good in the end.
Well, I watched the video and I was just sitting there like that. To me, that was like almost a subtle form of propaganda. It's just like, I want some ramen now.
At free advertisement.
Yeah, exactly, for free advertising. Are you going to start a cooking channel next? Is that the next plan?
I mean, I was thinking I could do more like cooking videos if it did well, but I like to do various lifestyle stuff occasionally. I don't think I can constantly make like funny stuff that involves me, so that's why I focus on games. So
Okay, so you're not gonna do anything like chocolate covered ramen.
well, I'm probably never gonna make ramen like that again because it was very frustrating. But I don't know. I might.
I was going to say you should figure out a way to stream cooking and playing a game at the exact same time.
Oh God.
Sitting there like controller going, "Oh gosh, gotta stir the potatoes. Hold on."
I gotta play Dark Souls with bananas.
Why is the controller broken? Oh damn it! It's a banana.
Or I was going to say like grill a steak and play
Resident Evil.
Play Resident Evil 2.
Oh God.
Dude, did you ever play? Speaking of games that are gory and stuff, did you ever play the game Parasite Eve?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I have that.
Rare to meet someone who has played it.
I mean, I haven't finished it, unfortunately, but I have had it like since I can remember for the PlayStation, and I only like plugged it in about a couple months ago for the first time. So
yeah, I tried. I played it, and I got all the way to the end, and I finally just got frustrated because my brother had played it and beaten it, so I knew what would happen at the end. But I tried to get through it, and it was just awful. I couldn't do it, and I just finally went, I'm done, and I've not played it since because the ending was so frustrating to get through. And the storyline is great.
The game is wild. Like,
yeah.
I've never seen a combat system like that before, so...
Yeah, I would say it's probably more insane than Resident Evil.
I've been trying to convince him to play West of Loathing.
Oh, yeah. I just haven't been able to buy it. But it is on sale.
I've looked into Steam, and I know the game is on there, but a lot of it just seems like a lot of those games are just like really, really expensive. Plus there's like isn't there, I mean, you have to pay for individual games plus a subscription?
Well, not on Steam.
Okay.
You might be thinking of like, I don't know, Nintendo Switch or like one of the Xbox services.
Okay, probably.
Because on the Xbox, you can like buy a Game Pass and it gives you a bunch of games for like a month, but you can also just buy games. But on Steam, you just buy games.
I've always kind of just wanted to know, like, how in the hell a lot of these like game developers and everything, how do you come up with the price of an actual game? A game that you know is going to make money, but you're still charging like $70 for like a special edition and like $50 for a non-special edition. I'm just like, we know you're all a bunch of money grubbing bastards, but you know what? Not everybody can afford a $50 or a $70 game.
Well, it's some of that. I can understand the high cost of that because when there was one game I can't think of, it may have been Destiny 2. They sunk in about $350 million. And I may be wrong in the name of the game, but there was one recent game that just blew up. And they sunk about $350 million in development costs and promotional costs. And that's basically cost that company has to eat up. And so, so when you could make the argument until they have actually made that money back, they're not making any money on that game until they have met that $350 million that they spent on all of that. Their total income on that game is still zero because they're trying to get into the black and out of the red.
Right.
So, and it's a huge risk because when you look at some of these game development companies, they're not just putting $350 million into one game. They're doing it for a lot of games. And it is a huge risk. And what a lot of people don't realize, too, is that being a video game developer, while it sounds cool, is one of the worst jobs in programming you could have. Because those guys will get paid much lower than their counterparts in other parts of the industry. and you have to work like 60-hour weeks. And then a lot of times when they're done with that project, everybody who worked on that project is turned loose.
I would just rather be a tester.
Well, that's why for programming and IT, I would rather work for a large corporation in healthcare.
You're just being part of the man is all you're doing. You're working for the man.
Well, yeah, but you know what that being part of
you're
the man
you're a sellout, TF. You're a sellout.
But you know what selling out allows me to buy? Motorcycles and go on dates.
And prostitutes.
Not prostitutes. Nope, not disease-ridden creatures. Nope. Oh, that's going to get me canceled more than anything else. Prostitutes, because we talked about cancel culture a little bit earlier, and so yeah, it's coming for us now.
Yeah, you're going to get zeroed. You're going to get zeroed out is what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to be like, you shame sex workers. I'm like, well, they tell you in all your health classes, stay away from high-risk sexual behavior to reduce your risk of diseases.
So Cryveil, first of all, I have to know where does your name come from?
That's a good question. So I think I made it like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Before I'd kind of just use like a combination of my name and whatever I'd come up with online. And my channel itself is really old. Like my URL was from something I had it like 7 years ago, and I still can't change it for some reason. But there was an evolution of all of my shitty names that eventually like culminated into the one I have now. Because I thought of it, while it was 2 years ago, and I didn't want it to be like something stupid or too edgy that I would regret to have later down the line. And I guess I was successful because I don't absolutely hate it, and it's the one like screen name I actually enjoy. But as for inspiration, like I went through a ton of names. Just I wanted something that like kind of rolled off the tongue, something that you could say and it'd be recognizable. So I didn't want to like copy someone else.
So you wanted it to be something that people would recognize immediately, kind of like names on here, like going back to him, like Markiplier.
Yeah, Markiplier.
Because if anybody who plays video games in any capacity, especially like horror games and stuff like that, we all know who Markiplier is.
Yeah. Even if you don't play games, he's like a big person on YouTube. And if you say the name, it's like, oh yeah, I know who that is. And sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I also, there was another YouTuber. I never watched him, but he was like Cryotic or something, and people called him Cry, and I really liked that. So I kind of stole it, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to, like be the same thing. So I just really liked that kind of terminology. So I kind of wanted to incorporate that into my name. So then that's why I finally decided this.
And your channel pic and your avatar here are really, really interesting. How did that come about?
So about a year ago, I don't remember what I had as my profile pic before that, but the one I have now is fairly recent. I made it like maybe 2 weeks ago, right before I started streaming again. But about a year ago, I started playing Hollow Knight, so I made my own profile picture of one of the characters from that game, and I had like a little flame heart. So my motif in my profile pictures now is kind of just like hearts by whatever. And then I think maybe a few months ago, I made one. I think I had the Hollow Knight one for a long time because I didn't want to change it. And then I finally drew like a self-portrait one a few months ago, and I kind of kept up the same style. but it was really bad. I didn't like it, and so now, after I made the Persona 4 video, I thought, maybe I should try to draw something like that. So I tried to draw, kind of another self portrait thing, but this time I did it all digitally before sketching it out. So, and I really like how this one turned out. So it's kind of like the background and the color style kind of takes from Persona 4 a lot.
I've looked at it and I'm just like, wow, this is really, really good. And I wasn't sure that like if you did it or somebody drew it for you. I'm just like,
yeah, I did this.
It looks really, really good, my friend.
Thanks. Yeah, I like to make, not just videos. I mean, I can kind of get into, how I started everything, if you want.
Oh, that was actually going to be
okay.
Like, you get out of my head, man. Get out of my head.
Sorry. I'm just, this feels like, I'm talking on stream, so I can bring up my life stories,
Oh, right. Except you're not, screaming at Resident Evil.
Yeah. And I'm not stuck on a very easy puzzle.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like, hey, turn this key. I turn that key already. So yeah, definitely. Like, so tell us, like, what got you into YouTube and what inspired you to, start doing your content and streaming your gameplay.
So it kind of started in high school for me when I think after, I kind of got rid of all my other friends because they were, pieces of shit. So I was in high school and I didn't have like anyone, like any friends. So, and I was really interested in video stuff at the time, but I never got into it. So I found like a video media club and I figured out like, oh, this is a really cool thing to do, especially with other people. So I got to know things and I learned that I like to make, stuff, but not just videos. I eventually experimented with digital art, Photoshop stuff, music stuff. So eventually, since other people in that video media club were making videos of their own, I decided to do that. So, but originally it was like really small, kind of almost shitpost like things, just whatever I could get by because I didn't really have a computer. I think I was editing at a laptop at the time.
Sounds like me doing this show.
And so I only got what I could get from like Xbox game clips, and I couldn't like stream or record anything. But eventually, I got a PC from my friend, and then I started kind of taking it a little more seriously. But I never really treated it as a job. I kind of just make all these various forms of media, and I try to implement them all into my videos and my channel. See, like my profile icon, or I animated stuff in the Persona 4 video, and I kind of just like making cool things that people like or based off of like stuff people like and just kind of sharing it, which is where I started doing the music stuff as well, because I wanted to listen to something from like a game in a long mix with like ambient noise, and that turned out to get my channel a lot of attention, even though it's not the main focus of my content.
Well, I started doing this channel, just about 2 months ago, and it was just something, I took a lot of I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of people that I've met over the past year that do YouTube, and the more that I talk to them, and the more that I meet, new people who, do content like yourself and Wanderer and all these other people, it just continues to inspire me. I mean, I'm just a lowly, guy on the YouTube totem pole, so to speak. But it is. It's very inspiring. It's just like these guys are, they're doing what they love to do, and they're wanting to, try to make something out of it, and that's the whole point. To me, like I'm as you can clearly tell, I'm a big music lover, and
No.
oh, you shut your lips, TF. You shut your lips, or you're fired. I'll let Cryveil fire you today.
You guys are getting paid?
No, God no. I wish if I could do YouTube full time, like some people. Trust me, that would be the greatest job ever. But like I'm really into music, and going back to when like I was in high school, being into punk rock and everything, and how all of that was very do it yourself. That's just kind of what I look at YouTube as. YouTube is very DIY, and
Yeah.
making your own content and putting it together. Whether you're doing video editing or you just doing like a little talk show kind of like this, or something like that. Everybody that's doing it, well, with the exception of some of the weirdos and degenerates that I've come across, I applaud those people. I applaud the people who are making legitimate content for YouTube, and I certainly tip my hat to you for for doing what you love to do. I thoroughly applaud you for doing that.
I mean, I think you got a pretty cool thing set up right now. I like the whole aesthetic of it, and you just started, and I could see you have a lot of passion for it, and that's like, it's really important to have passion when you're doing this kind of stuff, because you can't really get into it and think I'm gonna make a career out of this, because it's really hard to really get anything out of this site unless you're on here for a long time, or you just follow trends. Following trends isn't fun.
Oh yeah. So what got you wanting to actually do streaming, like actual streaming itself?
Well, I've always wanted to like kind of do a radio show, and obviously I haven't done that, but I've done like a form of that in the form of playing games on stream. And also, I'd finally, after maybe a year of doing YouTube, I finally saw some growth out of it. So I thought, oh, maybe I should stream, just so I could also get footage of the game if I ever make a video on it. So it's kind of like, a double thing, where I can record footage of a game so I can use later, and I can also play the game so I can hopefully make content out of it. But I also started at a time when I just made kind of gaming videos that were highlights, or just kind of, little memes of whatever I come across in game. But recently I've started to shift that into kind of review stuff and written kind of things. So, but I can still use all that stream footage as like background media.
Right. So
now, sorry,
go ahead.
Now it's just kind of fun to stream, because I gotta have a couple regulars, and it's really tiring to like keep a stream going by yourself if you have like two people watching and they don't type anything in chat, which was a lot of my early streams were like. But now that I'm starting to get, some people who like me online, it's a lot more fun to stream, and it's a lot more fun to see like random people come in who like do something cool.
Yeah, when you were playing Helltaker the other night, talking about when you met Lucifer, and you were just like, well, I can give you like pancakes and coffee, and I'm just like, is there bacon? The way to escape hell is to give Lucifer bacon, coffee, and pancakes.
I mean, yeah, there's also a lot of jokes that people make on stream, which is great. There's a lot of moments when I just go into a laughing fit on stream, and I destroy my audio. But
So, and And when how long ago was it when you hit 1,000 subs, over 1,000 subs?
It was like 4 days ago.
Oh wow!
Wow, congrats, man.
Yeah,
it,
man.
It was pretty recent. It's a real slow burn to get like subs on YouTube. If you don't like, if you're a regular content creator, obviously, if you don't have a pre-established fan base and you don't make trending content, like obviously if you're a Fortnite channel, you're gonna get a lot of 8-year-olds. But if you're just kind of a regular dude, it's tough. So it took me 2 years to get up here, and I guess it doesn't help that my early stuff was shit posts. But
so would you say though? I mean, I would imagine that it's kind of like a snowball effect. That once you start getting,
it kind of is.
Yeah, like more people that get exposed to who you are wind up going, oh hey, well I'm going to subscribe, and then because you probably got a lot more people than just 1,000 who view you.
Yeah, well, like on the music mixes I do, there's a ton of people that watch those, but like some people stick around and they watch the streams, which is cool. I had an idea. Yeah, so it is like a snowball, because I was stuck at like 16 subscribers for a very long time. And then I made like one video and it got, well, it was like a meme video, so it was only 15 seconds long. And it got 1,000 views. So that kind of, was good. And then I made like another really, it wasn't much of a trend. It was a trend that died, right? But I made a video on it because I thought it would be funny. And then that is what like kind of finally shot me out of that like under 50 subs range. And it eventually, started barreling down. But it's a lot of luck. You just kind of, if one of your video gets recommended to a ton of people, then, you'll finally get somewhere. But you can't like make that happen. You just have to wait for it.
Right. You have to wait for that moment of YouTube greatness. Like,
yeah, and then it's hard to have that happen if you're not making trending content, like I said.
Well, I think that's one of the best things about YouTube is the people who, make content that's kind of off the beaten path, if you will.
Yeah.
Because you've got like, I like to watch like a lot of different things on YouTube. A lot of the channels I subscribe to are going to be, mostly music, where I can find, new records and all of that. Because I have a lodge brother of mine. I actually got to see him yesterday, and just for the record, I am just so the audience will know, I am actually he and I talked about him coming on the show here in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to be a big one. I'll talk a little more about the details here just a little bit later, but. Like a lot of like people are doing like reaction channels. Like some of the funniest ones to me are like the people who have never listened to heavy metal before ever, and they start reacting to metal, and it's like, wow, man, this is great, and I'm just like, well, yeah,
we've been telling you that.
Yeah, we've been telling you that for years, and you just didn't want to hear it.
So there are a couple of guys. They do a review, and they were like big hip hop fans. Like they are pretty much hip hop experts, and so they started listening to metal, and they break it down for themselves, and it's really cool to see it through their eyes, because you've got somebody who's not even really listening to rock and roll, and they're diving headlong into metal.
Wait a minute. What's the name of? I think I subscribed to that channel. What's the name of it again?
Let me see.
Do your Google foo or your YouTube foo. YouTube foo by TF.
What exactly does foo mean in this context?
Oh, we just. That's just something we just came up with. Like,
it's just something TF does. We don't know.
No, we look at searching on Google and YouTube as a form of martial arts. So we call it Google Foo and YouTube Foo.
Oh, the name of that channel is Lost in Vegas.
Okay, I'll have to look at that.
Oh, those guys are awesome. They are hilarious too, because they've also done reacts to Wheeler Walker Jr. and that guy is kind of like the Steel Panther of country music. And like, just be careful. Like, for people who are much more sensitive, you may not even want to watch his videos or listen to his music. But to everybody else who has a twisted sense of humor, check him out. You know. But yeah, these guys, they've got stuff where they you'll like this, Widow. They watch a live concert of Danny Carey doing a drum solo.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, everybody in the world should watch Danny Carey play drums, and everyone in the world should listen to Tool, as far as I'm concerned. But that's neither here nor there. But so you were talking about you did like music videos, and I don't think I've gotten that far into your content. I'm watching it like piece by piece. Like, what kind of music are you doing?
So, well, I would like to make music of my own, but I'm too like nervous about that.
What makes you nervous about it?
I mean, I get a lot of performance anxiety, and like, for some reason, whenever I record myself, I do incredibly worse. But I have done a little bit. I just, I'm not fully comfortable like putting myself online like that, I guess. But
well, I get that. I used to have really bad stage performance anxiety until I realized that everybody messes up.
He just started thinking about the audience in their underwear. Is all it was.
Man, it was them in chicken suits. Get it right. But, no, they've. But what happened is when I started realizing everybody messes up, and it wasn't until I did my master's recital, and I was able to bring in my own personality and bring in much more of my humor, because I majored in classical guitar. So I was sitting there like all stiff and, like you picture classical musicians. And then I started sharing kind of my jokes in my master's recital and making people laugh. It also, too, didn't hurt the fact that when they came in, one of the guys that was coming to my master's recital, I knew he was deathly afraid of clowns. So I had pictures of Pennywise. I made a collage of just pictures of Pennywise that said, "Welcome to my master's recital." And so he sat down, and I had like commercials being played at the intro, and then I did an intermission where it was like a Pepto-Bismol commercial and just so many of these others. And I think like eHarmony was another one. And
I think you should have done your recital in a clown suit.
If I could have found one, I would have. Actually, if they would have let me do it, I probably would have done it. But, you had to be professional, and it was a master's recital. I couldn't goof off like all the undergrads could. I really wanted to do a song with a big giant fart in the middle. But
you talk about being professional, but you also did like all that.
Yeah, I started the line. I was one of those guys. They were like, we can only get him to be professional so much. His real personality starts coming out.
Look, we can't control this guy. We've tried. Just let him do what he wants.
Yeah. So one of the things that happened, I told the story. It was the last piece I played, and it was a hymn arrangement, song with fart reverb and added bass.
Just like you got to like put a bunch of extra low end in it,
There's only the bottom there.
Try to mimic the brown noise and see if you can get the audience to poop their pants.
Oh, dude, if I could have, I would have. So one of the things, everybody crapping their pants would have been hilarious. I mean, even if I had to crap my pants too,
they would have flunked you immediately, is what they would have done.
But what a legendary story. I was failed because I made everybody crap their pants,
Right, but then they would have been like, look, you fail automatically. We're going to kick you out of school as of this moment.
But yeah, well, one of the things that I wanted to do, this is a side note, and I'll get back to that other story. So one of the things I was wanting to do is do like a dance, techno, electronic song. But some of the noises in there be my actual farts that I've disguised with different types of effects. And, get my friends who are DJs here to play it, not even tell them it's actual farts, but then like go to some of the clubs here in town and watch people dancing to songs that are just farts. That would have been the greatest, to me, that would have been the greatest prank ever. But
make impressions and not
that should be my tagline, Mick.
Yeah, there you go. Wait a minute, let's see. Me and my friends were laughing at our friends who was crying with laughter at fart with reverb sounds and voice chat. Just, oh God.
So anyway, going back to this one story I told in my graduate recital, there was this hymn I was playing that one of my previous professors had arranged, and it was a beautiful arrangement. And it was something I was closing out, and I told this story. And the story is I was performing it at a church one summer and playing it during their offertory, and because I was on this trip with a college ministry type thing, and so I was one of the college students there, and I'm playing this piece, and I got past this one section I'd always messed up on, and then I had a brain fart and forgot where I was, and I went, crap! And didn't realize I forgot that the mic was like right there, and so it picked it up and broadcasted it. And like I just see people like from my group throw their heads back in laughter, and the pastor's wife like had to hang her head low, and at the end they were all like, at the end of the service, everybody was just cracking up and making jokes about it, and they were like, "Good job, dude. Good job."
You are now the inventor of techno electric fart music.
Hey, I will gladly wear that. Oh, yeah, there's another techno project I'm supposed to be working on called Cyber Reagan, where I take quotes from Ronald Reagan and digitize them and do it like dubstep type, because, we've resurrected Ronald Reagan as a cyborg.
Dubstep and auto-tune.
Yeah, well, they go hand in hand. So it'd be like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
I bet someone has to have done that before. There's no way.
Yeah.
Well, I think the better ones to do would be to just take the upcoming Joe Biden and Donald Trump debates and just play some comedic.
Oh, no, you could take any Donald Trump speech and make that like the most hilarious like remix ever.
Well, if you notice, they're not allowing Joe Biden to do any interviews, and he's not doing any speeches. Everything he's doing is being tweeted out, which means it's not him. There's somebody else doing that, because Joe Biden, every time he opens his mouth, his foot goes in it. And I mean, well, it's like, seriously, the comedians are just waiting for the debates. I mean, even the guys from SNL, from the Weekend Update, both Michael Che and the other guy, I can't remember his name, Colin Jost, they both said this is a comedian's dream come true. They were like, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, those debates are going to be hysterical.
Oh, right. But see, the person who needs to be around to cover all of this is Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, gosh.
So we're just kind of leaving Cry out here, We're just kind of sitting there just like, why did I even come on this show? These two goofballs are just like,
talking about farts.
Yeah, talking about farts and Trump, and Trump and farts, and they're basically the same subject. So are you just making electronic music, or are you like? Are you making like in a band or?
I was gonna eventually get to that, because I never actually talked about what I did for music stuff. So, I've tried to start bands with some of my friends, but it never works out. They don't really dedicate their time to it. So, I play guitar, and I've played a little bit of piano, but I don't have one at home. So, but it's really fun to play. I wish I did. I mean, I've kind of played like a few other instruments, like the sax, but I'm only like I've spent the most time on guitar. Also, the Wanderer asks, for my opinion on Silent Hill, and should you stream it? I think you should stream Silent Hill. It's a great game. I haven't played the first or the third one, or the fourth one. I've only played the second one, but the first four are really good. So I think I can get to that later, but the music question is at hand. And what I do on YouTube is I take music from games I like. It originally started out as games from. Well, I should get it. I should say that first. Sorry, my brain is like not working. That happens a lot, but so I try to take.
You tell the story how you want to tell it, man.
I try to take games that unconventionally, like they're not supposed to be, relaxing games. They're normally stressful, like Dark Souls or horror games. And I try to find the relaxing songs from those games, and I compile them into a mix, and I add, like ambient noise. So that's the stuff I do on my channel. I know I'm technically not making music, and it's not mine, but I wanted to. It started because I wanted to listen to like a mix of Dark Souls music exactly like that, and no one made it, so I made it instead. And then I did a Yume Nikki one, and then I did a Silent Hill one, which got a lot of attention. But I also take that philosophy with kind of the videos I make, because I look at, the videos I make as I try to make something that I would want to watch, but if it doesn't exist yet, then I can make it, basically. So I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but I guess some of my earlier gaming videos, it's like, oh, I'd want to watch this, so then that's probably the final decider of why I actually uploaded some of that garbage.
It's just garbage. It's just garbage. Well, I think that, I don't think that, if you enjoy playing music in any capacity, then you should, just do it. That's one thing that I always tell people. It's just like, if you make any kind of music, man, just put it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And, there are going to be people who do enjoy it. And that's what you have to do. You just have to do the kind of stuff that makes you happy and what you want to hear. And if there's got to be other people out there that want to hear it,
Yeah.
Like you should just make videos of you, like, doing guitar solos and stuff.
I've thought about like doing like a video of just whatever I do, like jam for an hour. I've done a couple streams where I play guitar. I think I've only done one, and I've brought it on stream a couple times. But that stream was like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. It was a long time ago. So I haven't done it too often. And I also don't know if I should post music stuff like that on my channel, because I don't really know what people watch me for at this point, because I make so much different stuff, and I don't know if I should just be posting whatever at this point.
Well, just like put it up there and just make you like a playlist or something.
So you think I should just make it all unlisted and put it on a playlist?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like, if you like wanted to just like record a video and put it up on your channel, and like just to, like, you like little music stuff, like if you've got like some guitar riffs or something you're working on, or just playing, record it, throw it up there, make a music playlist, put it on your channel.
Yeah, there's only one video, but I had planned in a couple of my videos where I just throw a little guitar thing at the end. I only did it once.
Well, you should keep doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm probably gonna try to do it more.
Keep doing it, boy. You just got to do it. TF, you're awful quiet over there.
Yeah, I am. Just listening.
I have written some music in my time, but I haven't really written for an entire song. It mostly consists of just guitar and lyrics.
Just making riffs and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Hey, man, that's the way great songs come about, is just writing riffs. I mean,
Tom Morello, one of the things that he does is he writes all of his riffs on a cheap classical guitar that he has, because his attitude is, if it can't sound good without effects and distortion and on it, then it's not a good riff.
I mean, all I got is a cheap acoustic guitar, so...
Yeah, so you're in the company of one of the legendary guitarists, even though, like, Tom Morello is definitely not on my list of favorite guitarists.
What?
He's really not.
You're an idiot.
No, I'm not. I like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and those guys.
Well, every
from Steel Panther.
Yeah, but you know what? I can name one guitarist that tops them all that you just named.
Who?
Dimebag Darrell. Shut up.
He's not as good as Steve Vai.
Shut up.
He's not as good as Steve Vai.
Yeah, yes, he's bad. Yeah, whatever.
Steve Vai is a space alien when it comes to the guitar.
Well, you suck. So, okay. So you're streaming Resident Evil right now. What other games do you have? Are you going to go through like the full series?
Oh, the full series? Well, I only have Resident Evil 1 and 4 on PC, and I can't stream the Resident Evil 2 remake because I get really bad frames. But
is it because of the resolution the new one's in? Or?
I don't know, because like on the game itself, when I play it, I get fine. Like it looks fine, but for some reason on stream, even though I'm not losing any bitrate, and it should be running fine, I just have terrible frames.
TF, you're the really big computer guy here. Maybe you can try to help him out somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's fine. I've played a ton of that game, and I'm kind of like tired of it, but I haven't played it in a while, so I don't know. But yeah, I have Resident Evil 1 and 4, so I'm probably going to play 4 at some point, but I'm not a big fan of its combat, so I'm not super excited for it.
Yeah, for me, like with Resident Evil, I like the storyline to it. I haven't played any of those games in a while. Like after I went to college, like my video game consumption dropped a lot, and it really wasn't that much to begin with. But like for me, I like the story with that they have up to a certain point. When they start getting into some of the more absurd things, it goes from being a zombie story to just being just absurd.
Also, yeah,
like because when it was like you had the Umbrella Corporation, they're this evil corporation who was working on this virus, whether it was they were intentionally trying to create a zombie virus or it was one of those they were trying to find a cure for a virus and inadvertently created it.
Oh, I think it was definitely intentional.
Yeah, it's they weren't they trying to do it for like military in the storyline, like military purposes, where they can have much more loyal and fearsome soldiers.
I don't know. From the first game, like kind of the start of it all, you only really get the message is that they're a corporation that wanted to create bioweapons.
Yeah.
As to why is kind of mysterious.
Yeah, and I think too, even saying like a company like that creating a bioweapon and then creating the cure as well, kind of fits in with how evil the Umbrella Corporation was in the series. But for me, when you start going into Wesker somehow turning it into himself being a weapon, it just goes absurd, and you get these giant zombies. Because I'm a huge fan of the zombie genre, but I like The Walking Dead. I love George Romero's Night of the Living Dead series. That's all. Like, I mean, Romero is definitely the genius behind it, and I love the Zombie Survival Guide. But when you start going into there's an element of realism to all of that, even though we realize that this is all science fiction or really just fiction. But all of that stuff is somehow based in legends and myths that exist in different parts of the world. And a lot of the zombie legends that we follow come from the Caribbean. And so keeping in that framework, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. There's it's based in some type of myth or legend, but it's not like you've got the where it starts going into Resident Evil territory, and you could tell they were trying to milk the franchise.
Yeah, and like 5 and 6, they go for like more of an action kind of aspect of the games, which I didn't like. And 4, I have no idea. I know it's it's more horror, but the monsters are crazy and not zombies at a certain point.
Well, see, that's one thing I was talking about when you were playing Resident Evil, and I popped in one evening, talking about, they did the Friday the 13th game, which I've seen the gameplay for that, and it looks absolutely amazing. But, I would love to see, because, being a horror movie fan, I want to see like real horror games. Like go back and make, like I said, a Nightmare on Elm Street game right now with today's technology, and having Robert Englund do the voiceover for Freddy in the game would be incredible. It could totally work. I just don't find a lot. I mean, like, horror games are pretty much going the way of horror movies. They're just like, they're becoming really cheesy and shitty. And
yeah. Well, a lot of games were going that direction for a while, like Resident Evil 5 and 6 around that early 2000s time. And then they brought it back with Resident Evil 7, and they kind of it's more of a horror focus now. Mm-hmm. But Resident Evil wasn't always like exclusively focused on horror. It was also, survival horror and like managing stuff and puzzles and shit. And Resident Evil 8 is, continuing the direction of Resi 7. But there's always good horror games, that get released at various times. It's usually, AAA games. I'd say except Resident Evil, AAA horror games suck. It's usually indie developers who make, good horror experiences nowadays. And even then, it's kind of rare because you see a lot of garbage horror games. Because, like, a lot of people want to make a horror game, but, only some people are actually good at it.
Right.
And then there's, the classic Silent Hill games. And then, after 4, they switched to a new studio and it sucked ass. But then they finally tried bringing it back with PT, but I mean, eventually they canceled it. But that was another good one.
Well, see, like Clive Barker, the guy who wrote Hellraiser, he was doing a video game called Jericho. And it was supposed to be like this real... What?
I
TF.
I think TF was...
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit.
I keep telling you to not watch your adult movies during the show.
Yeah, what was the question?
It's fine. There's no question.
No, I was talking about the Clive Barker video game, the Jericho. Like this, like I kept hearing about it.
I never even knew it existed.
Me neither.
Well, it was supposed to be like this really big horror game, and it was going to be super scary and gory and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, I think it changed developers, and then they were just rushing to get the game out. And apparently it's really shitty and it's really short. And I'm like,
yeah, it's one thing when you look at horror, you have to really study the genre to find out what makes it scary. So let's go back to Night of the Living Dead. The thing that made that movie scary was the fact that it came out in the 60s. There was a lot of nuclear testing going on, and people were very wary of nuclear bombs. And so we had entered the atomic age. So what they were really concerned about was what residual effects will this have? So what they wound up doing was creating a storyline that played on those fears. And one thing about horror movies is they do, I mean, literally the name, the function is in the name. You have to play on people's fears. And even the stuff that was just serving as the background. The actual thing that really played on people's fears was once they got in the house. You had all of these people in this house, and at every zombie movie and TV show follows the pattern that George Romero set up with this. And what you have is you have the dynamics that really start coming out, and the zombies serve as the backdrop. They are not really the scary thing. The scary thing are the humans in that. And that's where you start seeing the racial issues come out. And so you have this one black guy who becomes the hero. He is truly the protagonist. And then you have other people in the house who are villains, where they have this poetic justice executed on them. And then you had this white woman who is in denial, and her kid becomes a zombie, winds up wreaking havoc in the house, and so they have to wind up killing both of them. And then they finally get out of the house, and the black guy is leading them to safety, and then he is shot by the white sheriff. And that was George Romero's way of highlighting racial inequality in that. And so there are many ways to that, that you can, many lessons within that story, and we can still extrapolate some of that stuff. And one thing that keeps making Night of the Living Dead such a classic and still scaring people today is the fact that you have the element in the house. It's a hopeless situation, and people are fighting against that. And that's what makes Silent Hill such a scary game, especially the first two, because you have that fear. The whole story, it sucks you in as you're trying to, is it your daughter or your son in this game? In the game, I can't remember.
In Silent Hill 1, it's your daughter. In Silent Hill 2, you're looking for your dead wife.
Yeah. So you've got that, and so you're alone in this world. It is playing on that fear, and the storyline is what drives it, not the graphics, not the gameplay. And I think one of the things that every single game developer should take note of is if you're going to develop a good game, you should spend, and they tell you this in programming classes, that your programming should, when you're developing any program, you should spend 80% of your time developing it, about 80% of your time planning, 15 actually writing code, and then 5% debugging. And if they focused more on the storyline and less about the actual gameplay and really working on developing the storyline, the main storyline, working on the side quests, and really just getting the story and character development. And that's the other thing that draws us in. When you look at Night of the Living Dead or any story that we really like, especially look at the MCU stories, movies, what draws us into those characters is not the fact that Thor wields a hammer. It's not the fact that Iron Man is Tony Stark, who is super smart and develops all this armor. What draws us in are the characters. We have seen Tony Stark progress from being this arrogant SOB and a narcissist to progressing into being a good example of what humanity should be, to the point that he sacrifices his life to end the threat that Thanos is in this reality. And so a lot of these games are more concerned, and I say it's not just for horror games, I say this for games that we just forget about. They are not invested into developing the characters. They're not invested into developing a good structured story. And you look at any game that people love to play, like The Legend of Zelda, people talk about the gameplay, but when I played Ocarina of Time, it was the story that drew me in. It was like, okay, I got to complete this story. Let me try to get this. I got to get this. I got to finish this story. With Fallout, it was the same thing. Fallout New Vegas, I love the storyline. And if you work on, again, I will iterate this, and this will be the last thing I say on it. if they work on a good storyline, if they really emphasize it, the rest of the game will fall into place.
I mean, yeah, I think, story's important. But if you go back to Silent Hill, like 1 and 2, the gameplay, it definitely wasn't the forefront of anything. It was really clunky, and they didn't, focus on it too much. But there's still like, if there's no gameplay, there's no game.
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm like, the storyline should be primary.
Yeah, it's the biggest focus.
Yeah, the gameplay should be secondary, and what happens is that's why you hire people who focus on each. You do have like a project manager who oversees everything, but you make sure that the guys who are developing the story, who are fleshing everything out, who are coming up with the panels and they're drawing it, you better make sure that those people have everything like in order. They have their ducks in a row, because once you pass that off to the developers and to the guys who will eventually be doing the animation, their job should be mostly done for them at that point, especially the animators. And then when you look at the guys who are developing the gameplay, they shouldn't have to worry about the storyline. They should have to worry about, okay, how do I make this work?
Yeah.
They should be worried about functionality, and that end is where the gameplay comes in.
In horror media, and especially Silent Hill, I mean, the story, it does like drive you places, but also like the atmosphere of it all, which is kind of affected by the story, but kind of not. It's kind of its own separate entity. Like the atmosphere and the music, and a lot of tension can come from audio or the soundtrack, especially in Silent Hill.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to the discretion of the director. So when you look at a movie, one of the, I think it was Elmer Bernstein. He was a film composer, and it was either him or Leonard Bernstein. And there was a movie. I think it was I think it was called The Heiress. And there is a scene in The Heiress, like near the end, where basically this heiress had her heart broken by a guy, and the premise is she winds up getting poetic justice at the end. Well, the composer for the film, during the screening, realized he had to go back and rework the music, because the music that was played in the background made people laugh. And it was a scene he didn't need people laughing. So he had to go back and rewrite the music that actually convey the emotion that goes along with that. And there was another movie that was a war movie where at the end it ended with complete silence, because the director wanted to highlight how somber it was, because it was at the end of a battle. Decimation had happened on both sides, and he really wanted you to feel that. And the way that he made you feel that was complete silence.
Anyway, the Wanderers had a question for a long time. He was asking our opinion on PetScout. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of. Have you guys heard of ARGs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like that, but also not, because it doesn't involve people. It's more of like a horror web series that just kind of masks itself as kind of a real life situation. So it's about like a game developed on the PS1 that was never released. I don't remember all the specifics about it, but it does involve like some like kidnapped family and a dead kid or something. But it's basically like a PS1 game that has a really like dark, underbelly that gets explored by this one guy, and it also like implements a lot of things from the past that you can only really piece together at the end. And I enjoyed it. I was there from the beginning and the end. I saw it like when it was just kind of coming out. And it's all done now. But there is like the problem where you can't really theorize on it. It's see if it was like a regular web series, you'd get clues as to what's happening. But in Petscop, you just get like you get clues, right? But they don't lead you to the answer. They just kind of say something, and you can only really figure it out at the end. So that's, and I mean, yeah, that's the only thing I didn't really like about it. It's also just kind of like a niche thing, so I don't know if you guys should check it out or not. It's not super scary, but it's really interesting.
I mean, if it'll hold my attention, then I'll definitely. I'm one of those that when I watch something, like if it'll grab my attention within like the first 5 minutes, then I'll stick with it. But I watch so much different stuff like all the time that
it's not super long. Another thing, like when it was coming out, it took like 2 years to get the whole series done, just because there was incredibly long gaps of uploading. But like it's not that like they couldn't finish it in time. It's just they waited to upload all these things, so they like intentionally hold the answers away from you, because there was like an entire year without uploading, and then on Easter like last year or maybe 2 years ago, they uploaded like 7 videos in a day.
Wow.
I would have preferred if it like trickled down over time.
Like once every 2 weeks or maybe once a month until it was out. I think that's a lot of a problem. I think that people who put out content like every day, I mean that's cool. That's all fine and well, but some of the channels that I subscribe to and everything, some of them upload every day, some of them every few days, but the ones that only upload maybe like once a month or once every like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, I'm more inclined to watch those channels first, because like I've been waiting to see what they're going to do, and it's the anticipation of it all. It's like it's okay. Like I love the show Sons of Anarchy, and it sucks having to wait like an entire week before you find out what's going to happen. But that was the best part of it. You know what I mean? So just not
waiting for it is like half the fun, basically.
Exactly.
And with people on YouTube who take like 2 or 3 weeks to upload content, I mean, it kind of sucks. Like it's not really good for your channel if you don't upload very consistently.
Yeah.
But people who they take a long time. If someone doesn't upload for like 3 weeks, then they're working on something, and then when that video comes out, it's going to be good. It's going to have a lot of effort into it. I mean, I disappeared for like 2 months when I started working on my Persona 4 video, and I didn't release any like major thing until I got it done. Basically 2 months, as long as it took me. But like it kind of usually if you take like 3 weeks, it's a long video, and it shows off to people like, hey, I worked a lot on this, and you're probably going to like it. Versus like daily content, it's kind of vapid. It's kind of just like, okay, well, here's something I did today. It's not super well planned out if you do something daily each time.
Yeah.
At least for me, I have no idea what I would upload if I uploaded daily. I can only really make videos if an idea comes into my mind, and that usually comes from playing a game all the way through for a long time, or just thinking of like a funny thing to do. And even with the funny stuff, I don't like to make super short shit posts anymore, so I probably wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean that's why I set this show up to do it once a week. Because I don't want I don't want people to get burned out. And they're just like, oh, he's already doing another show already. Just
Yeah,
like,
and
well,
you'd wear yourself out too if you streamed this like every couple days.
well, yeah, that's true, and it. But at the same time, I enjoy doing it. Like next week, and that's something that I've been meaning to bring up to those who are not members of my Discord server. We are actually going to be doing a show on Monday evening because there is a holiday next Saturday. Number one, and number two, I have to work that day. So we are going to go ahead and do Saturday's show on Monday, and we are going to have Cadenza on the show. As everyone is aware, a couple of weeks ago, I was actually on the Out of This World podcast and had a blast doing it, and certainly hope to be able to go back on there. So we're going to have him on Monday, but yeah, I mean the once a week thing I enjoy doing more because it gives people something to look forward to. I know Wanderer, looks forward to the show every week, and a few other people that I talk to on Discord, they're always looking forward to it and everything. And so I'm just like, once a week works perfectly. So you can't, little videos here and there, like if it's just something you're recording, like it's like, hey, I'm gonna be doing this, or like a promo, or I'm rambling. I'm going to shut up.
No, I get it. I mean, even streaming for me, like I do it every day or every couple of days, but I've gotten a little tired over the past few days. It's also been really hot where I'm at, so I can't stream until it cools down a bit, or at least I need to wait till nighttime. So I think I've taken a couple days off of streaming. It's really tiring when you do it for a long time. Like in long sessions, I did like a 6-hour stream a few days ago, and it really like kills me because I just kind of like sit in the same position and it fucks with my back.
Well, that's why you're like, hey, I gotta go pee. Everybody just stay where you are. Or
I mean, I don't like taking stream breaks, but I did make like a GIF for like on the screen if I do end up taking a break. But I just don't like taking stream breaks because I'm still in the mentality of like I'm not a popular streamer, so people just kind of leave if nothing's interesting is happening. Right. I mean, that's sort of changing now, but I'm still trying to get out of that mindset.
So if you had to name your top 5 favorite games to either play on PC or console, what would they be?
All right. Well, probably, let's see. Definitely, one of the games I played the most has to be Dark Souls. I mean, that's a given for me. I've spent a lot of my life in that game, so right. And I have a lot of fun playing it with my friends. So probably just the first Dark Souls. I like Dark Souls 2 and 3 a lot as well, but the first one is really special to me, at least. So another really great game that I've streamed like a year ago was Hollow Knight. I've been thinking about streaming it again because no one really like watched the original streams, and it was a really fun game. And I don't know, but that game is really it has a lot of good world building, and the map design. It flows in well with the game mechanics, and it's also just really fun to play. It's a Metroidvania style game, if you've ever, heard of those.
Yeah.
So the map is really like interwoven into itself, and a bunch of shit is placed in, like, you can backtrack to areas and be like, oh, there's a boss here. There's an end game boss here that I didn't even know when I first played the game. I just ran past him all this time. Stuff like that. Another really good game is, the game I've spent like 300 hours trying to describe, which is Persona 4. Because that's a more recent one I've played. It's a JRPG, and I mean I've spent a ton of time describing it, but it's funny how I can't now. It's just a really good story experience, and it was really fun for me to play through blind the first time. So if you ever get a PlayStation 2 and you get the chance to play Persona 4, or if you have a Vita, or Persona 4 Golden just got released on PC as well, but it's a really good experience. So I definitely recommend that. And then, I mean, I know I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil, but I'm not sure if that's the best game, one of the best games I've played. Because I have those top 3, but as for other ones, it's kind of like mixed on the rest. Because I play a lot of other good games, like Resident Evil. I've just started replaying Final Fantasy 12, which was another game from my childhood.
Hey, TF, take over for just a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, just yesterday, I tried to kind of unplug from everything, so I started a new game of Final Fantasy 12. I started playing the Zodiac Age.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've only played the original beforehand on the PlayStation 2, and I kind of like the original more because of the Gambit system. Like, they revamped it in the Zodiac Age, but I don't like how you can't change someone's license board once you've picked it, because I fucked up on one of the characters and I can't change it because I don't like their character. So, but that's a really good game. I love kind of the world around that, and it's also very nostalgic for me. Oblivion is nostalgic for me as well. I have a lot more fun with that than I do with Skyrim.
Yeah, yeah. I think Skyrim was just one of those games that became hugely popular, and so many mods came out for it that a lot of people forgot about Oblivion.
Yeah, it's a shame. Oblivion's a really good one. I mean, I've played a little bit of Morrowind too, and I heard that's good as well. But Oblivion is really special to me, probably because of its music, and I used to see it a lot, so it's pretty nostalgic. The Wanderer asks opinions on Dr. Disrespect getting banned from Twitch. I don't know if you've heard of that, or maybe we should wait for Widow to get back.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it. I can't remember. It's been a while. I mean, I know he got in trouble. I mean, he came out and admitted that he had an affair on his wife.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, though. That was like a year or two ago.
Oh, so what happened recently? I hadn't heard anything new.
I don't know. So I was on Twitter for like 5 seconds, and I just saw a news story that's like Dr. Disrespect got banned from Twitch. I didn't see any actual tweets about it. And supposedly, like, from all I was able to read, they didn't disclose as to why.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
New information might have been released since then, and I just haven't read on it. But
yeah, I'm looking it up right now. But keep going.
Yeah, Widow, we're talking about Dr. Disrespect getting banned from Twitch.
Okay, that was... Wander had mentioned something to me about that earlier, and it had just slipped my mind. So.
Oh yeah, he pretty much just asked. So, again.
I'm sorry, Wanderer. Okay, don't fire me, please. Don't fire me.
Yeah, it's one of the. I think it's part of the whole. I mean, I'm going to be very careful how I say on this, but they're not talking much about it. Like, they're just talking, like, the stuff that I'm looking at right now. They're saying that he has been permanently banned, but they're not talking about why he was banned.
Yeah.
And on top of that, some of the guys that they're saying have been accused of sexual harassment.
Okay, so can somebody just kind of fill me in on who Dr. Disrespect is?
So, or I can go, or TF can go. Maybe you know more about him.
No, you go ahead. Y'all probably know way more about it than I do.
I was just asking for somebody to fill me in.
Yeah. No, I can. I can fill you in. So I never watched Dr. Disrespect, but he's a pretty popular Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
And he cheated on his wife a few years ago. And then just yesterday, he got banned from Twitch, and they never really explained as to why. They're not disclosing that information. And I also read it's not from the DMCA things they're doing now. Twitch started to actually claim music like YouTube's been doing, and they said it wasn't from that. I'm not sure if that's a verified source or not, but I don't think you can get banned on Twitch because of that. And obviously, he didn't do any lewd things on stream to get banned from. So, and I think he's been streaming for long enough to not say anything, bad on stream. So he wouldn't have gotten banned from that either, anyway. So really, especially since they're not talking about it, it's really sketchy. I feel like they're just trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, because he had just signed a new contract in March of this year, re-signed a multi-million-dollar contract. And so now it's like you're saying, it seems like they're just trying to get rid of him. Because he did say some things that were just kind of controversial, but what they're saying is, Twitch is not mentioning anything, and one of the things that's kind of really gotten me concerned lately is this whole cancel culture that we have, where anything that you do or say can get you canceled or fired from your job. And one of the most petty examples that I witnessed, one of my friends got into a Facebook discussion, and some random guy called her fat. Okay, I get it. Not cool. You don't know what that person is, what that individual struggled with. What if that person has had a huge struggle with their weight, or they struggled with eating disorders? That could totally send them back into that struggle. So I get not cool. Well, she goes and posts screenshots of the conversation, goes to the guy's profile, screenshots his profile. Her friends start calling the dude's employers, trying to get him fired, just because he called this other girl I know fat. And I'm like, this is ludicrous. People are starting to try to get other people fired based on things that they say in a public forum. And it used to be like, if you were in a public setting and someone said some sort of insult to you, you would either punch them out right there, fight back with some type of verbal assault on your own, but eventually you would just have to move on. You wouldn't call their employers. You wouldn't try to get them fired. And now some of this stuff is going so far to the extreme to where if you say something controversial, they're not only going after you, they're going after your friends and family members because they know you. And one of my friends had a situation occur, and this is a really good example of someone fighting back. But one of my friends had someone try to do that, and there was this whole group on Facebook. And my friend's son posted a meme, and it was a dark humor meme, like just pretty morbid humor. And on the original posting, somebody, not his posting, but on the original posting, somebody else had made a racist comment. They were coming after him because somebody had made a racist comment on that original post, and they started threatening the dude's parents, my friend and his wife. So when they started messaging him, my friend, who is a wizard on computers, he just sends them 3 lines because all of the stuff he did is all public information. He just, sent them their home address and their work address, and that shut them up. Like, people stopped threatening him because he located them, and he didn't do anything illegal. I mean, because all this stuff is public information. And then my friend's son found out there was a specific group on Facebook that was organizing, so he joined the group without them realizing it was him. And then he goes, "Hey, are you guys looking for me? I'm here. Let's have at it." And they shut the group down, and everybody went into hiding. But think about it. They were trying to go after my friend and his wife and ruin their lives and ruin their son's life for something that none of them were responsible for.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's really gone into like a petty territory at this point.
Oh yeah.
People are so thirsty to have their, self-righteous philosophy fulfilled by just striking people down on the internet that they don't like.
Well, I've seen people that are, trying to expose racists.
Yeah.
Which honestly I applaud them doing that. If you're stupid enough to make racist comments, especially on a public platform, then you pretty much deserve whatever happens to you.
But they're going after people who haven't even said anything racist. They're going after friends and family members.
Well, no, I'm not talking about friends and family members. I'm talking about just like specifically the people that are making the comments.
Yeah.
Now, if they're stepping over the line and going after like friends and family, then that's where you draw the line.
Well, and they're also like the other thing that they're doing is even people who have not said racist things, even people who are just not going part of the cultural zeitgeist, they're being targeted. And it's even if there are people who are like, look, I agree with the sentiment of, let's say, the Women's March or something. Somebody can go, I can agree with the sentiment of it, but I'm just not going out to the protest because whatever reason. Those people are then getting shouted down and being targeted. And I'm just using this as an example because stuff like this has happened. And never mind the fact that going to a protest or not going to a protest is up to an individual's choice. And so it's like people are even being targeted on social media for not doing something and not repeating the same mantra that other people are saying. And even if you bring up some valid questions, you are still being targeted. And that to me is where the lines are being crossed.
Well, that's because people are afraid to think.
Well, who are you saying is afraid to think? The people who are targeting them because they are...
Well, no, I'm just saying people in general are afraid to think most of the time.
Well, yeah, and they're going to go along with the crowd. Like, if you have any valid criticisms of anything, it's like you are putting a target on your back. It's one of the reasons why I have stopped making any political or social commentary on social media.
Right.
Because of the fact that you never know which side is going to come after you. If you say something that the left hates, boom, you're getting called. Your bosses are getting called. If you say something that the far right hates, boom, your bosses are getting called, and you're possibly getting death threats. And that even happens on the left too. I know people it's happened to.
So what is your theory on what happened to Dr. Disrespect?
Oh yeah. Well, I already kind of said that before we divulge into cancel culture.
Right. Yeah, I'm just talking about I may have stepped out at that point for just a few moments.
Like I said, I don't watch him, so I don't think he said anything.
Pretty smart, because that's going to make your blood pump even more, and that's...
What the fuck is he doing?
I don't know.
TF is watching his adult videos on stream again.
Yeah, I know. Talking about blood pumping and running out of breath and all of that.
I muted it. It was one of my it was my roommate's fiance. She had sent me a message or something. I was having to listen to it because they're coming over tonight after this, so I had to make sure that they weren't on their way here.
All right.
Because I'm just going to go ahead and say this as everyone who watches the show regularly. TF does the show without his pants on, so
I'm wearing shorts. Hey, okay. So Wanderer asked, okay, what did Sky Jackson do?
Yeah, I don't know about the situation. So
hey, Wanderer, can you do us a favor and type in Yeah, thank you, Wanderer. Yeah, I'm flipping you off. That's what I'm doing.
Look, you not wearing pants is bad enough. Stop flipping off the audience.
So, hey, Wanderer, seriously, can you send us a link in the chat so that way we can kind of figure out what's going on? Because, let's see, I'm going to look it up.
Oh, time to do the Google foo.
I mean, cancel culture, I used to, target like shitty people, and now it's kind of okay. Wanderer said she outright docks kids and their schools and phone numbers and shit for saying, yeah.
Holy crap, that is not cool. Because Widow, you and I have already done this before. We've already had this discussion numerous times. Because it was all with the evil turd who shall not be named, or the evil douche who shouldn't be named. But he was notorious for doxing people, and that's one of the things that got him pulled from YouTube on numerous accounts.
The prime example of a giant douche. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, holy crap. I mean, you can't dox people, especially kids, and it's awful. I mean, that stuff if she's been doing that should totally cause her to she should have to face some type of legal ramifications from that, because that is not cool. That is crossing so many lines.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying cancel her. I'm saying that's illegal. There's a difference between saying cancel someone because they said something you didn't like. There's another thing saying, okay, you need to prosecute this person for crossing over lines. And when you're doxing kids and putting out their phone numbers, that is putting them in danger. That's setting their future up. And Widow, how much stupid stuff did we do when we were kids? We did a lot of stupid things, and I would hate.
We've all done stupid things, and a lot of them have involved drinking.
Yeah, and I would hate for someone to bring up something that I did before I was 25.
Yeah.
To try to get me fired from my current job or ruin my life currently, or bring up something 10 years ago, because there are things that people said 10 years ago that are not okay to say now, and there are things that people did that were not okay, today. And some of it, you could say, our culture's moved to a much more sensitive mark, or our culture has moved in a direction where certain things were not okay. Maybe we have wised up. Either way, though, it's kind of like, judging your past actions based on today's morality. When you look at it based on yesterday's morality, it may have been okay.
Right.
And it's like there's like almost no grace for people in their past. And a lot of these people calling for this, and I'm sorry to harp on this even more, but this just pissed me off. But a lot of these people who are demanding all of this, saying that, who think it's okay to punish people for past comments, to, even if the person has grown and learned from it, to totally ruin someone's life because of something they said, either because they were too young or because the culture was different back then, and not show those people grace, are the very same ones who are expecting to have grace shown to them when there could be legal ramifications for the things that they are doing and saying now. It's like, no, if you don't show grace, you don't get to have grace shown to you, period.
Well, so Cry, do you only stream on YouTube, or are you also on Twitch as well?
I stream on both. I used to stream on Mixer, but no one really gives a shit about Mixer, and now they're shut down anyway. So
yeah, I was just about to say, I heard the other day Ron from Surviving Life was on Mixer, and he was saying that but Mixer just got completely pulled down.
Yeah, they I don't exactly know why, but they just shut it down, and now it's Facebook Live or something. They merged it with Facebook. I think that's what I heard. I never actually looked up, like a news story about it. But I think that's a dumb move because people would care even less. So I don't know. But yeah, I didn't really like Mixer to begin with. The service never really worked for me, especially when I streamed on console. It just kind of sucked. It didn't get the audio right when I was playing with my friends. And I would have streamed on Twitch, in the early days from console, but they stopped. It wasn't working for some reason ever since they started pushing Mixer. So I have my little conspiracy theory that they made Twitch worse on Xbox so that they could push their own shitty platform. But it doesn't matter now, so that's gone.
Well, that's not really a conspiracy theory as much as it's actually happened in the past.
Very well could have.
Yeah, there was a fight between Google and Amazon banned all of Google's apps on Fire Stick and other Amazon platforms.
Well, if that were the case, then you wouldn't be able to get Google on, or not Google, but YouTube on the Fire Stick.
Well, you can now, but there was a time where you had to, if you clicked on the YouTube link, it took you straight to the browser.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was fucking stupid. Yeah,
that was because there was some type of, I can't remember what it was, but it was really petty. I mean, it really was.
It was because they knew you were just watching porn all the time. That's what it was. They blamed you.
Well, I mean, I get blamed for everything, I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, I blame you for the state of the world right now, and
I mean, fair enough.
I blame you for Cry not being able to figure out simple puzzles on his game. So you could take that and you can just stick it. That's what I say. So once, number one, when are you going to be streaming Resident Evil again? Are you going to do one tonight or later on this weekend or after the holiday?
I gotta check my calendar real quick. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of free days ahead of me. I might do one tonight. It depends on how hot it is, because I heard the heat is going to die down in a couple days, so then I'll be back to streaming like for longer amounts of time.
Do you just live in like a sweat lodge or something? Or
I mean, my room kind of does feel like that sometimes. The room I have my PC in, it's the hottest room, unfortunately, because the sun always beats down on me. So
with the big PC generating lots of heat.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's this thing called central heat and air. It's the
I don't have AC, so it sucks. And it's been getting like 86 up here.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm on the west coast. Not exactly by the coast, but like
in the middle.
Yeah, basically.
Is that like Northern California?
Northern West Coast.
Oh yeah. So it makes sense that y'all probably wouldn't have air conditioning, especially the Pacific Northwest.
Man, get you an air or like a window unit at least. I mean, my lord.
I mean,
we can ship you one from the south.
Yeah,
I have a fan on my computer, and that's about it.
Dude, the fan's not doing it enough.
The fan is not working.
We're gonna have to start up like a GoFundMe to get Cry a window unit air conditioner. So, like, our friend is really, really, really burning up in his house. Please help him before he just turns to dust and blows away.
Even when it's not super hot outside, if I'm streaming for like 5 hours, my room is just a sauna.
Man, you need to get like some box fans or something going on in there, man. I feel bad for you.
Well, it's like I don't like to have the window open when I stream, because then you get a lot of external noise. But I might have to do that now. It normally doesn't get super hot. It gets hot for maybe like a month, and then it kind of goes back to spring or fall kind of temps.
Yeah.
Turn PC. The Wanderer says turn the PC into makeshift bomb. That'll work. Then I won't crash. I mean, it's also partially because my computer, the CPU, is is prone to overheating to begin with.
I thought he was saying to turn it into a makeshift bong. Like, oh my God, really? That's not going to cool it down either.
Well, what you could do is just ditch the PC and get a Mac and run Windows on it. You know.
Oh, I don't know how well that would work.
Yeah, he was just like I don't know all about that. Like, are you sure about this? I don't know.
I just kind of got to upgrade my PC. It's like
it
was old when I got it, so
time to get the thermolytic cooler.
Yeah, no. What you could do? Here's a great idea. Before you start streaming, make yourself like a huge like tub of ice water, and just stick your legs down in it.
That won't cool down the PC.
I know that, but that would keep you cool. Because I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that your desk chair there probably has like a salt outline of the frame of your body from like soaking up all the sweat and the minerals from you. So yeah, man, you need to like cool down a little bit.
If I set up an ice bath, then there will be no stream breaks, and I won't have the opportunity to get up because my legs will just be stuck in there.
Just be like, man, I've really got to go pee, but this ice bath feels great. So this is the coolest I've been in days.
I do feel bad for my chair though. It's seen a lot of use over the years. It sounds like this. So.
Oh, that's about to fall apart.
Yeah. Hey, man, WD-40 will solve that squeaking sound. Just go get you some of that.
It's like the back panel that you lean back on. So
one time
he's gonna go to lean back one day, and he's just gonna
fall off.
Dude,
right.
I saw that happen at my first job when I moved up to Nashville. This dude, one of our guys, went to sit down and write on this part of the whiteboard that was at the bottom. So he sat down in this chair, and like not even a minute later, the chair just fell apart and he fell over. It was great.
There's been a few times I used to have, these chairs that you could take the backs off on them. So I went to sit down in it one time, and the back was loose. So when I went to lean back, the back just fucking fell off. And I fell on the floor.
Yeah.
It's like I just took a head plant, That was my entire intention today. It's like, hi, I'm Cry. I'm gonna get up today and just bust my head wide open. So, it's like I just like to get up in the morning and just fuck shit up,
Well, if y'all want to see some really cool but expensive chairs that are great for working in, look up xchair.com.
I'm not paying $400 or $500 for a fucking desk chair.
You don't have to pay $400 or $500. It's more like $800.
Man, I can't even afford like a good PC. Do you think I can buy an $800 chair?
Right, man. That chair better like have massage and a fridge built into it, and it better function as like a wireless modem and all this other kind of shit. If I'm going to shell out $800, I mean, that chair better be able to like cook me some food and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I do have to say, gaming chairs are some of the most comfortable chairs you could imagine.
They are good, but I don't think I'll ever be able to afford one, sadly.
Yeah.
Don't say that. I mean, a lot of it is too, though. I mean,
we're going to start a GoFundMe so we can get Cry a gamer chair and a window air conditioning unit. So,
dude, I'm going to
say something along the lines of kind of like, if you look in business, one of the business mentors that I have, he had the attitude back when he was not making a lot of money, that he was like, you know what, there's this truck I want to buy this type of truck, and he set his mind on to becoming successful in his own business. And it took him, almost a decade to get there. But once he was able to get there, he could finally.
Cadenz's here. Hey, what's up, man?
But yeah, he could finally afford to buy that truck that he wanted straight cash. Didn't even have to take out a loan.
Gamey First says my chair is $100 in fancy red, big seat for my butt. I mean,
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
My chair used to be my bed, so at least I've upgraded to a 12-year-old office chair.
Yeah, my chair right now. My chair right now is my bed. Also,
oh man.
Well, no, I have a chair that I was sitting in, but it's broken, and I was sitting in it for so long it actually strained a muscle in my back, my lower back. So, yeah, I was down for about a week with a strained lower back, and that was not really comfortable at all. So, yeah. I'm gonna take this old desk chair outside and set it on fire and dance around it. I'm gonna go outside, set it on fire, and put on a loincloth and turn on some Ted Nugent and just dance around it in a circle, like a wild Indian. Well, I thought it was funny. Screw you guys.
Oh, new chair ritual. I'm gonna get fucking scoliosis by the time I upgrade chairs from all the streaming I do. I sometimes bend down to my mic like this, and it's really not good for 6 hours.
Yeah, maybe, or you could get one of those desks that like you can sit at normally, but then like elevate it and you can stand up.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
I've actually seen desks that like you stand up at and there's like a treadmill attached to it.
That would be very exhausting, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd just be like, I got 3 words for that. Fuck that shit. That's what I say.
Standing up for like 5 hours is going to be hard enough.
Right.
One of the places I worked, we had a desk that you could just press a lever and pull it up, so you could go from standing or sitting whenever
Those
you
are
want.
cool.
Yeah, and I liked that because there are times that you do get tired of sitting on your butt and you do need to stand up, but you also need to work.
You work, really?
Yep, I do, believe it or not.
I don't believe it. I still say that you're male prostituting and they just pay you to stay home.
Well, a job is a job.
So, Cry, what streams and what videos do you have coming up on your channel in the near future?
Well, I can check on my games list to see if I have anything new. I did get Persona 4 Golden, so I did try to stream that a couple days ago, but then I realized my computer crashed, even though I was playing a game kind of like that. Even if it's not a computer intensive game, it still crashes sometimes, so I'm still waiting a couple days. I'm definitely gonna, I'm gonna stream more Resident Evil until I 100% that game. And then for videos, I was going to do like a Silent Hill 2 video by the time, when I was working on the Persona 4 one, I wanted to start replaying Silent Hill because I was so busy on the video and I just kind of got tired. But then, I wasn't super interested in replaying the game again, so I don't know when that will come out. But I have been playing Final Fantasy 12, like I said earlier, and I think I might make a video on that. I'm not sure yet because I'm not very far. So I usually decide, like, there's usually a few weeks of time where I don't have any video ideas, and I just kind of wait until the next thing to do. But I do have like some games I want to play and possibly make a video on that I'm starting to, make a list about.
Right. All the listening audience, like I said, the link to Cryveil's channel is in the description below. Click on his channel, watch his content. Very, very fun to watch. And, hit his notification bell so you can keep up with what he's up to. And likewise with our channel here, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get the bell on so you know when we're going to be active. Once again, we do have a show coming up this Monday with Cadenza. He will be joining us. Now, we're not going to be doing that at the normal time. We're actually going to be doing that at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I guess that would be sometime after midnight in the UK. So, Wanderer, you're going to have to, if you want to catch the show live, you may have to stay up late, buddy. So, but
hopefully it's not past your bedtime, Wanderer.
Don't start. I don't want a channel. I don't want an audience member and a co-host feud going. Okay, this is so everyone be sure to check the channel coming up here within the next probably 24 hours or so. I'll have a live event set up so everyone can set the reminder. So we've got that coming up, and then of course this a week from today, of course, is the 4th of July. I will be working. I'm sure TF is going to be out, probably doing whatever TF does on the 4th of July, and so
going to a barbecue.
So the week after, we will be back on our normal schedule and working on having a few other people on. Hang on, let's see. TK's Madness at 3.
Hey, Wonder, I just saw your TF doesn't work. He runs a money laundering scheme comment.
Wanderer, you are indeed one of the coolest dudes ever. You are seriously one of the greatest people that come in here, and we really appreciate it.
I kind of want to do a show one day where we're like doing like Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it's like us and Wanderer commenting.
Well, you're going to get your wish there, TF, because Wanderer will be coming on the show very soon. Once he gets done doing the banner and everything for the channel, we are going to have Wanderer live on the show with us one Saturday. So you may get your wish before you know it. So awesome. just mentally prepare yourself. So Cry, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today, my man. It's been a blast. I know you probably needed a little break from hosting your stuff, and that's one thing some people tell us. It's just like, hey, I don't have to do anything. Somebody else is doing all the work. So, no, man. But no, really, man, we really, really do appreciate you coming on. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me here. It was pretty fun.
Well, and we would definitely love to have you come back. Actually, what I'm thinking of doing, and probably within the next couple of weeks, is I'll do just like another kind of panel show like I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this time I'll probably bring a few other people in. So I'll go ahead and extend you an invitation to that. I'll let you know when it's going down. And it's just going to be a show where we don't really have like a specific guest or topic or anything. We just kind of shoot the shit. So
it's just going to be chaos.
Oh,
Pure chaos.
Any time that, we can throw a little chaos and anarchy into the world, so be it. That's chaos makes the world go round most of the time, especially nowadays. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. It has been a pleasure to have Cryveil on, and he will definitely have him back on. And so, TF, you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, one thing I do want to discuss, maybe when we have the episode with the Wanderer on, he had mentioned something about Shane Dawson. And since he brought it up, I think that would be worth discussing with him, because that's something I just looked up and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think that is something I definitely want to discuss with Wanderer.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely. I'll let you make some mental notes for the Wanderer episode. But Wanderer will be coming on here within the next couple of weeks with us, and we'll have a good time. And also, real quick before we go, uh, shout out to StooDogg, StooDogg. If you're watching or if you're going to be listening to this later, we really miss you on the show. Hope you're feeling better. Know you got a lot going on right now, buddy, but hope that you will. Be back with us soon. We miss having you on the show. But guys, it has been another great episode of the Sanctum Sanctorum on this Saturday. And once again, remember everybody, we will be on live this Monday evening, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, after midnight in the UK. So we know Wanderer will be here because he's got his ritual that he has to do at 3 a.m. So we know that he'll be here. But once again, Cry, thank you so much for coming on. We will definitely have you back. And, everybody make sure to tune into the Cadenza episode on Monday. And until then, I hope everyone's Saturday goes amazing. And until we see you on Monday, peace be with you.